Okay, so now what we're going to do is have a little tutorial on one possible way of being able to access your virtual machine if you happen to be off campus and not connected to the CUWCS Wi-Fi. I should, truth in advertising, should point out that this is not a guaranteed solution, as vSphere will sometimes put virtual machines asleep if there's a lot of resources being used on the cluster and the virtual machine is not currently being used. And if your virtual machine goes to sleep, it will no longer be compatible with this solution until you've woken your virtual machine up. So you might need to contact a student who lives on campus to log in and turn your virtual machine on so that you would be able to reach it from off campus. So the solution I'm going to show you today uses a tool called VNC, or called Real VNC. There's a server and then there's a client. We're going to install the Real VNC server on our Ubuntu install, which should then allow you to have and what the server does is it will communicate with Real VNC's cloud. And then we'll put Real VNC client on a different computer. I'll show you where you would download it. I already have it installed on my computer, but then we put in the IP address that is given to us for our VNC server. So let's go through the process of doing this. So I'm going to go ahead and open up a web browser here. And we're going to do a search for Real VNC. All right. And I realize our resolution's a little bit small right now, or big, so everything's giant on the screen, but I think we can make it work for right now. I'll do that a resolution fix in a separate video, just to keep things as compartmentalized as possible. All right, and you are going to need an account. So if you haven't already signed in, go ahead and sign up. All right, so you can do that. I'm actually going to go to the menu. You know what? I'm going to search for something else real quick. I'm just going to go to Real VNC Server download. All right, but you will need an account because you're going to be logging into it here in a few minutes. Here we go, VNC Server. Okay. So this guy connects your various things. Now, one thing we could have checked first, just to make sure, is if we click on Ubuntu software and we do a search for Real VNC, we can see if it's actually already in there. It didn't look like it was in there that way. Yep, it's not in there. So we will need to do what we're doing here. So we're going to choose Linux as our version that we're downloading. So that's the little penguin dude. All right, and notice it automatically detected. So we're going to download VNC Server 6.7.2, and we're getting this for Debian 64-bit. In a previous video, I let you know that Ubuntu is built on top of the Debian Linux distribution. So it functions best with Debian packages. So I'll go ahead and say download this. And notice that the default is to open with software install. So we'll go ahead and let it do that. All right, so this shows us our Real VNC server. So we're going to go ahead and click install. Put in your password. 0123456789 is the default one that we set up. Okay, should be on the system now. So I'll go ahead and close this. Now we want to launch this for the first time. So I'm going to click on show applications. And I'm going to do a search up here. Just do a search for Real. Going to pop up there. VNC. Did not pop up there. Did it already put it up here? Let's just do a search for VNC. There it is. So we'll do a search for VNC. We're going to click on VNC Server. It wants to know our password. Notice it's running as super user. So we'll type this in again, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right, it's going to create some links and things like that for us. So here's the software. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to come up to the top. And it says no users are currently connected. So we want to get a connection to this guy. I might need to do it from the previous screen. So let me click on this. Oh, maybe it's this. I need to hit resolve for is not licensed. So we'll hit resolve. Okay. So now it wants to know my VNC server account. So you would have created the account on that other screen when we first downloaded it. And again, you can send anonymous data if you want. I'm going to go ahead and uncheck that just to have our virtual machine not do any extra communication that it doesn't need to. So sign in with the account you created at RealVNC's website. I'll go ahead and hit sign in. I'm guessing it might send me an email confirming who I am or something. Okay, so now I am logged in. Now it's asking me to provide a password to allow unauthorized remote access to this computer. All right, I'm going to go ahead and set it up with that same default password, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And that wants me to confirm that, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, now this is to password protect this particular computer that I'm giving access to through VNC Server. All right. So now it's asking, what do I want to name this guy? So we're going to name this guy CUWCS Virtual Machine Ubuntu. Just so we know which of our virtual machines it might be, you can name it whatever you want. All right. So our subscription type here is home. So when you just set up a normal account with RealVNC, what you do is you get up to 5 computers that you can set up with VNC Server like we're doing. So you might have a couple of virtual machines, you might have a desktop computer at home that you want to be able to access through your laptop, that kind of stuff. So under their free license, you can have 5 computers that you're going to access this way. So I'm going to go ahead and hit apply. It's asking for my Ubuntu password again. So I'll say 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And it's going to finish setting up these settings. Okay, so this computer is now ready to receive connections from VNC Viewer. Okay, so go ahead and hit done. Notice VNC is already running on this computer. If I just click on it up here, first of all, I'm going to go ahead and click on options and just make sure it's set to automatically launch. I'm almost positive now it is set up to automatically launch when you reboot. So it's going to ask me for my password. Okay. So definitely allow cloud connections. That's already set. Okay. Yep. I don't think we needed to do anything in there. So I think we are good to go. So VNC Server is now running on this computer. So now I'm going to switch over to VNC Client that I've installed. So you'll download VNC Client on another computer. So it would have been something like Real VNC Client download. Okay, so it's actually called VNC Viewer is what you'll get. So you'll go and download this on the computer from which you want to access your virtual machine. So probably not on this Linux box unless you're going to be accessing other VNC servers from your or other computers through VNC Server from your Ubuntu install here, but you'll go and download it for your platform. So I'm actually going to, I've already downloaded it on my Mac and I've installed it. So I'm going to switch what I'm sharing over to VNC Viewer on my Mac. And notice now I have a new computer that's popped up. So I've already gone and logged in using my VNC credentials. And when I click on Mike's team over here, I now have a third computer. This is, and I could be anywhere in the world right now. I don't have to be on the CUWCS network. So I'll go ahead and double click on that computer. And I'll hit continue. It's going to pop up a VNC server identity. Let me actually, I'm going to stop this share. I'm going to share my entire desktop here so you can see what's going on, because there were some pop-ups and I'm guessing that maybe you were not seeing those. So it's asking me to accept this server identity. So I'll just hit continue. Now it wants me to put in the password that I had set on VNC Server using my that I did on Ubuntu. So this is the password that I set for remotely accessing the Ubuntu thing. So this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I happened to set that up using that. And I'm going to say remember password here, so I don't have to type it in again. You can decide if that's something you want to do or not. So I'll go ahead and hit OK. All right. And now you see we are actually connected to our virtual machine using VNC Viewer without going through vSphere or anything like that. Okay. So this would be a convenient way of accessing your virtual machine if you would like. I think that you can actually, can we make it full screen? I think you can make it full screen. There we go. So now you have that full thing running on there. Now, if you want it to look a little cleaner, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to show applications. I'm going to go to, I think it's display. Okay, so we'll go to settings. Let's go to monitor settings down here. That's for screen resolution. And we'll let that pop up, presumably. Oh, did I not click it? Here's our monitor settings. I'm just going to go ahead and click on the settings tab here, and that should open up settings. I'm going to do a search for resolution. Okay, yep. So under displays here, we're going to choose resolution. The default resolution here was 800 by 600, which is why everything looks gigantic. So I'm going to go ahead and make the resolution much larger. I'm technically on my MacBook Pro, which does support 2560 by 1600. If I select that, and I probably have to drag a little bit to get it to apply, or maybe just press enter, because I actually can't reach the, there we go. I have to drag the window to get to the apply button in the far upper right. So I'll go ahead and hit apply. And then I'll say keep changes. So now you see we have a much closer to acceptable display resolution now. So everything appears on the screen nicely, and you can decide whatever your preference is. I would say this maybe looks a little small to me, but I can probably bump up some resolution inside my browsers and stuff and make this work. Same thing with terminal. You know, that's a pretty small terminal for me, but I probably can, let's see, it's control plus sign. So control, yeah, there. Control Shift plus lets me blow it up. And there we go. I'm guessing Control Shift or Control minus will let me shrink it. There we go. So I can get it to a screen size that I can actually view and everybody's happy. Okay, so there is our tutorial for getting VNC Server set up on your computer, which would allow you to access your virtual machine from anywhere in the world after you've set it up on our vSphere, and presuming the virtual machine is still running on our vSphere server. Like I said, it's possible that vSphere could put your virtual machine to sleep if it needed more system resources for other people's running virtual machines. If that's the case, you probably have to have a friend on campus who can remote in and at least hit the play button on your virtual machine to get it to launch again when you go to do your homework from off campus. All right,